Haha, yes! You want to know a little secret about me? I, a Vancouver Canucks fan, love the Columbus Blue Jackets as of about 5 minutes ago when we decided to make a video about this topic. You see, today we're talking about Vancouver Canucks forward Jake DeBrusk and the unexpectedly high trade return that Ryan Johnson and Vancouver could potentially get in a Jake DeBrusk trade. Now today, we are diving into what Aaron Portzline wrote about on The Athletic. Portzline, love you, Portsy. He does stuff for the Columbus Blue Jackets beat on The Athletic, and he posted this article earlier yesterday that got some traction. CBJ, like so many other clubs, want to add a top 6 scoring forward this summer. That's more likely to happen via trade than free agency. Here are 5 names that might make sense for GM Don Waddell to target. Now, included is a picture of Matthew Knies, Toronto Maple Leafs guy. Obviously, he'd be a pretty big get for any NHL franchise, whether you're Columbus or Montreal, the destination that we thought Knies was going to get traded to at the deadline. But Jake DeBrusk's name is put on the list as well. A 29-year-old forward, 6'1", 198, left-handed, left-wing guy. Signed on till the end of 2032, making $5.5 million a year. This contract's pretty good when you consider the absolute peak of Jake DeBrusk's abilities. Last season, he had 42 points in 81 games and 23 goals as well. Most of those goals were power play goals. And when you consider the fact that the Vancouver Canucks were literally the worst team in the NHL, and they lost significant firepower throughout the course of the season, what with Quinn Hughes getting traded, Kiefer Sherwood getting traded, Connor Garland getting traded, it only opened the door for more difficult power play situations and other guys needing to be rotated into the mix. But Jake DeBrusk, despite all that, was able to consistently produce. Now, I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek because I do acknowledge that the Canucks actually did get better at scoring on the power play when Filip Hronek was on the top unit and Marco Rossi came back from injury. There was a lot to like out of the Canucks and Jake DeBrusk's goal scoring especially. But as all the rumors have been reporting, from Nick Kypreos to Elliot Friedman, Jake DeBrusk signed this pretty long-term deal with the Vancouver Canucks to play in the playoffs. He saw Vancouver in 2024 take the Edmonton Oilers to 7 games, and he said, yeah, the atmosphere in Vancouver, the swagger of the team, and just the results they were able to get, I want to be a part of that, and that's why he came to Vancouver. Lo and behold, the team blew up in front of his face, and now they are last place in the NHL. It's fair for Jake DeBrusk to be open to wanting a trade. He may not ever admit it. It's not going to be like, oh, Jake DeBrusk, 42-point scorer for Vancouver, demands out. It's not like he's going to be doing that, but word around the block is that if he were to be traded, he wouldn't necessarily be upset. So, for Aaron Portzline to go out there and write about Jake DeBrusk as a Columbus Blue Jackets target, firstly, that's quite interesting to me because you look at the Blue Jackets and where they finished, they were just outside the playoff picture looking in. They had 92 points this season in 82 games played, 40, 30, and 12. They have a Norris-winning defenseman in Zach Werenski and a number of other question marks up front. What's the future of Boone Jenner? Charlie Coyle, how is he going to perform in that contract? Could they get another scorer like a guy in Jake DeBrusk, for example? And what is the trade price? Well, this is what Canucks News Summaries went out there and tweeted out. Aaron Portzline of The Athletic includes Jake DeBrusk as a trade target and suggests the Blue Jackets could trade the 14th overall pick for him. The Canucks own 2 first-round picks, numbers 3 and 24. But given their rebuilding plans, the 14th overall pick could make sense. And I'm sitting back here saying, whoa, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Other teams' beat writers are saying, hey, Jake DeBrusk, let's go out there and get this guy. We can send Vancouver a 14th overall draft pick. Oh my goodness, Columbus, yes, please! I'll fly this guy out myself. I don't know how to fly planes, but I'll learn how to do it if it means getting Jake DeBrusk's behind over to Columbus and giving that 14th overall pick to Vancouver. I'll drive Jake DeBrusk to the airport myself. I'll drive Jake DeBrusk on a long road trip down the I-5 and then cutting east to Columbus, Ohio myself if it means Vancouver is getting the 14th overall pick. And I love how Portzline opens that up by saying, hey, the Canucks have 2 first-round picks, but hey, they could use another one. Hell yeah, the 14th overall pick makes sense. And the reason I'm so ecstatic about this piece of commentary by Aaron Portzline is because I feel like for a lot of Canucks fans, myself included, I've read the comments. We've made trade-related videos on a whole bunch of Canucks players over the past few weeks, and Jake DeBrusk has been in those talks a lot. I read what you guys say. Nobody thinks this guy's worth a first-round pick. And the funny part is, it's like, you can twist my arm and force me to come up with a narrative that makes sense when trying to evaluate Jake DeBrusk and say that he is akin to a mid-first round pick. You can say, hey, this guy is a genuine power play monster. He played on the worst team in the league and he still was a 20-plus goal guy. He ended up leading the team in power play goals and goals in general. This is a player worth your time if you want somebody who can be a triggerman on special teams. Jake DeBrusk helps out with that. And depending on how starved you are for getting that kind of offense, maybe a first-round pick is actually valid. But nobody was going out there and legitimately saying to themselves, oh yeah, I think Jake DeBrusk is going to get traded and the Canucks are going to get a first. We were seeing Connor Garland trade comparables for Jake DeBrusk. Oh, guess what? Connor Garland got traded over to Columbus as well. He's not really doing all too well, unfortunately, but Connor Garland grabbed Vancouver a second and a third. Jake DeBrusk is not like he's extremely talented, that he's so much better than Connor Garland. I'd say that you might even find more Canucks fans that appreciated and adored the game of Connor Garland's over Jake DeBrusk, because Garland had that work ethic, he's got those spins, he's got those agitative qualities. Sure, all the stuff about him being a locker room cancer came out after the fact, and I think that really did hold back his reputation. But I won't really think it's a common idea if Canucks fans are saying, oh yeah, I think Jake DeBrusk is more valuable than Connor Garland. I think most fans would believe the opposite. So now we've got Columbus beat writers saying, yeah, no, we can give the 14th overall pick to Vancouver, give the Canucks the 3rd overall pick, the 14th overall pick, and then the 24th overall pick. If you wanted a reality where Vancouver found a way to draft all of the Rucks, this is that opportunity. Sure, maybe having a Ruck go 14th overall is a little high, but if you want to guarantee it, there's an avenue for you to do that. Or if you really wanted Vancouver to grab another top prospect at the very top of the draft, you can trade 24 and 14 for a top 10 pick. Although, to be fair, I would say that this year's draft is really all over the place. Past the top 5, this range of 6 to maybe 14 is all jumbled up, and then you could say the same thing 15 to the end of the first round. There are so many different kinds of guys that can go wherever, depending on who you ask. So I would honestly say that maybe quantity is better than quality from the perspective of the Vancouver Canucks in the first round of this year's draft. As long as they get 3, which they already have, and as long as they get something else in the 14 to 24 range, if they've got 2 picks here, they could make some really good acquisitions. And if Jake DeBrusk is the guy who allows Vancouver to get that draft pick, then my goodness, I am down on my knees kissing your toes, Jake DeBrusk. That is beautiful. The comments on this tweet are all saying the same thing, maybe the 14th overall plus the Canucks have to take a cap dump? Just thinking out loud, I'm not expecting a first for Jake. That would be a steal. Aaron Portzline is no dummy, but that seems like a huge overpay. Feels like way too much for Jake DeBrusk. I'd be stoked. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of Jake DeBrusk to Columbus for the 14th overall pick? Hell yes, baby. Let's see it happen. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on. And bye.